What is up, OSIMA Ball Reviews? Keegan here, and today we're reviewing the Idol Helios. Now, the Idol Helios is a ball that I was very excited for when it was announced. Wasn't able to throw it back when it was announced, but it seemed like a reaction that I thought a lot of people would really like, because the original Idol was such an amazing ball, and of course it got discontinued potentially due to COVID, but of course, it all comes down to sales numbers, right? But the Idol Helios here is supposed to be an updated version, according to Roto Grip. It's supposed to have like more change in direction from deeper than the original Idol, but they're trying to keep the reaction pretty similar. So let's kind of talk about the specs of the ball, what I'm comparing it to, and then what I'm actually expecting from it. Of course, has the original Icon core. It's been every Idol since the original 249 RG with a 52 differential. Kind of that standard big symmetric core. This one features a newer formulation called Extreme Tracks, which from my understanding is kind of Roto's version of NEX, or just like kind of an enhanced nano, like stronger than micro tracks. And that's where like it really differs. That's where it's trying to get that extra change in direction, probably just a little bit more friction response in this one. And it's finished actually lower than the original Idol, which came at 3,000. This is actually at 2,000, which kind of helps it get that earlier friction to start that change in direction. I am comparing it to the just the Axiom. Like I said, pretty sure Extreme Tracks is just Roto's version of NEX. So I'm comparing to the Axiom because mine's really fresh. Like I only have like 10 games on it or so. So I feel that comparing to another big symmetric ball that honestly creates a lot of shape on its own, apt comparison. Maybe the Axiom just recently got discontinued. Maybe you're on the fence about the Idol Helios. Maybe they're going to be similar enough for you to want to get it as a replacement if your Axiom's just, kind of starting to get worn out. And my kind of expectations is that it's going to be pretty close to the Axiom, but most likely a little bit smoother when they're both at box surfaces, and just potentially that little bit smoother once we actually get to like a match surface, because I'm gonna sand the Axiom to 2000 just to have that like same surface on them. But let's head out to the lane and let's see if I'm right or not. Alright, now that we're actually on lane with the Idol Helios, let's talk about what I see from the ball reaction before I talk about how I feel about it. What I see from this is kind of your standard earlier rolling, symmetric, solid, strong ball. Like, to me, the reaction, it's nothing that's really gonna, jump out. The colors, that's another thing, but the actual ball reaction, it's just kind of that staple, really controllable, symmetric ball. And that's a piece that I've always loved to have in my bag. I mean, you saw me review the Hero Solid, the Knockout, and the Infamous, which is not in that ball category, even though on paper you would think it could be. The Power Torque review is lost to the data corruption, but it's but I love that ball reaction. Before I signed on at the Bowling World, where I wasn't allowed to throw Storm, I had an Idol, a Phase 2, Original Marvel, a Rain of Fire, IQ Tour, and even the Wild Streak, and even a Venom Shock. And all of those are kind of different variations of this same reaction. Wild Streak's the most different, and the Rain of Fire. But this type of reaction, this kind of standard benchmark reaction, is so quiet and unassuming when you look at it,
but it's something special that you need to have. And I am loving this ball. Now let's talk about how I feel about it. How I feel about it is a little bit more intense than how I was describing the actual ball motion of it. Because what I will say is that this ball feels extremely familiar. That's the best way for me to describe it. It feels almost as if the original Idol and the IQ Tour had a fusion made of them. And I mean that as in, the shape I get from it is honestly pretty similar to the shape I get on my IQ Tour. It's not, like, it's early enough, but not extremely so, and really smooth off the spot, but it has the strength of the original Idol, which I loved. I loved that ball to death. And you can really just see in its reaction how it goes through the pins, that it's so controllable. And just how it like that one I got outside, and it has that like friction response of the original Idol, like when you miss out, but it has that controllability of the IQ Tour in other places. So I am loving this one. So I needed to compare it to a ball, and I want to do something recent. And I recently got an Axiom. This is the Axiom at box surface playing the same line. And for me, it was not reading in the right place compared to the Idol Helios. It was a little bit too long if I kept in the oil, and if I got it down to the friction, sometimes it would snap back to arc, because I mean it's a higher surface, and the Axiom, for it being a symmetric solid ball that you would assume to be pretty smooth, rolls with a lot of shape. And for me, I preferred the Idol Helios. Maybe it was the slightly fresher cover. I had like maybe 10 games on the Axiom. But moving on to a match finish where I sanded the Axiom down to 2000, the reaction that I get is honestly fairly similar. Like having that slightly earlier roll on the Axiom kind of tamed down the back end of it, and it looked a lot better.
Alright, back from the lane, and of course you heard my raving review in the voiceover, how much I really like this ball. I love the original Idol, and it feels very similar to the original Idol to me, just that little bit more controllable, which is always a good thing. Sure, I left a few 10 pins there, but that's kind of, I'm on a house shot. It's going to burn up a little bit of energy and I'll carry them out, especially at 2000 grit. But I really loved what I saw from it today. May take it up for league, may take it up to like 4,000, but you know, it's kind of could be perfect where it's at, if I'm being honest, especially for like a game one ball. Could be money. For me, I saw it have that kind of, like I said in the voiceover, very smooth, benchmark, upper mid, solid, symmetric type shape. The shape itself, it's nothing to write home about. It's nothing to be like, oh my god, this is the next big thing. But it's something very important and very good that you always need to have. And for me, that the Idol Helios may be, not maybe, it's going to be that ball that I carry with me for that shape. It's just so good for me. Now, let's put it in a bag slot. I ranked the Spectre a 3 because of, like, it doesn't really, it covers a good amount of boards, but it's not like the strongest thing in my bag, nor is it even like just that one step below the strongest. However, the Idol Helios is that one step below. So I'm going to put it in a 2 slot with just a continuous motion on it. It's not traction, it has a good amount of shape to it. It doesn't just kind of hook really, it's not like urethane on steroids type shape. It's a really good ball. Now let's talk about something that will complement it. I think that the Zen would most likely be a pretty good complement to it, just because the Zen kind of has that same type of roll to it. It has that same like kind of, it starts rolling a little bit earlier, especially for a pro ball, but it has that little bit more angle from when you're actually getting just that little bit too deep, even for the Helios, even though it's designed to have that little bit more change in direction. Or like if you have even more separation, the Spectre would be a really good complement to it. You're having to play a little bit straighter with the Helios at first, and then you have to jump left because there's like, you're just hitting all the friction. Spectre, that's where a good place to go. But I just really like this ball, and let me know what you think of this kind of like more natural review style. Of course, I have my notes right here, but I'm just kind of talking to the camera about how I feel about the ball right now, and I feel that's gonna help me get, you know, my points across a little bit better. But I have been OSIMA Ball Reviews. Oh shoot, I missed again. I hope I don't miss y'all next time. Thanks for watching.